All right, for today's mixture assignment, I am going to be making one of the things that I make several times a day, which is a baby formula bottle. So here we have powder and some distilled water, and when I mix these two things, it is going to make a heterogeneous mixture, because even though I try to mix it as much as I can, it doesn't necessarily dissolve completely. And it also depends on the temperature that you do too in a bottle. So if I put this mixture in, about 2 ounces, pour the distilled water. Right now it's not mixed, so all of the formula is actually, as you can see, all clumped at the bottom here. And if I was to mix it, even if I was to mix it for a good minute or so, or even 2 minutes, there is still a chance, and even if you can't see it, if you look really closely, there's still some clumps in there. So, and this is just room temp water. So in this case, it's a heterogeneous mixture, because even after mixing it, the formula that has proteins, fats, all of those things that a baby needs in their system is still kind of gathered in there. If I was to let it sit, it would probably separate and you would see a lot of powder collect at the bottom. So after even a good mix, after I feed my baby, there's sometimes tons of like powder residue. So you have to be super careful when you mix a baby bottle to make sure that it is dissolved correctly. And because I'm putting a type of solute that is a mixture of different substances, this would technically be, even though it's a heterogeneous mixture, it is also a colloid type of mixture, because it's more substances being dissolved in another substance, which is distilled water. So it's just a whole mixture of things, literally. So we have a baby formula bottle that I'm going to save in my fridge that I make every day. So the particles that are in this bottle are not molecularly uniform, so that is why this is a heterogeneous mixture, because even though I'm mixing it, there's still going to be particles gathering in different places in the bottle, even if I left it over time. So that kind of explains that a bit. And then the mixture I'm putting in, the distilled water, is also got different fats, carbohydrates, protein for a baby. So you're just putting a mixture of one thing into another mixture of something else. So that's why it's also known as a heterogeneous mixture that is also an emulsion or a colloid type of mixture as well. So if this was embalming fluid or an embalming solution in the funeral home, it would act as a preservative for a deceased body, because it would help build upon those tissues, slow decomposition, kind of give a couple of those extra preservatives to help keep the body in better shape than it was when it was decomposing very rapidly. So kind of like a formula body helps give back those nutrients for a baby when they are very hungry and they need all those proteins, those fats, those carbohydrates, sugars, everything. Whereas a deceased body in this case would need that preservative in an embalming solution to not decompose as fast, especially if you want to see your decedent, your loved one, in a viewing. You need some preservative. So there's kind of a versus, whereas this is not actually preservative. This is just baby embalming fluid.